Hi, my name is Logan Dunaway. I'm the president and head of service and advisory for Anneal Tech. And in this video, I'm talking about the differences between the ad hoc break fix IT services and monthly service plans that many IT vendors are offering today, so you can better understand which one fits the needs of your business. Now, at face value, these two things could seem very similar, with the primary difference being the cost. You look at the ad hoc break fix site and you go, okay, I'm going to be able to call you when something breaks and I'll pay whatever it costs at that time to fix the issue. But my technology is fairly stable. My needs are fairly consistent and simple. I don't really need anything persistent because you're always there when I need you. And in many cases, that may be true. I know that there's a lot of vendors out there that are happy to pick up a client in need and who is desperate because they've got a client engagement that's, a tight deadline. They've got to get things fixed. And so they're happy to work with you and charge you up the wazoo for those types of services. And they can be very expensive. I've seen it range anywhere from $100 an hour to, I think more commonly now in major markets, is anywhere from $150 to $225 an hour, which is wild to pay that much per hour when it's very easy for a vendor to get 2, 3, 4 hours of service out of you, depending on what the issue is. If it's a fairly significant virus infection or something like that, it can be quite costly depending on who you're working with. Now, you do have a lot of vendors that are a lot cheaper. I would just warn you, you kind of get what you pay for in this sort of arena. And you are rolling the dice because if they aren't available when those situations arise and you have a very tight timeline, you can't necessarily guarantee, and there are no guarantees and promises from those vendors that they're going to respond in an appropriate amount of time or a guaranteed way to your issue. For them, there's really not a whole lot of upside to doing so. And so a lot of folks then look at the plans and they say, okay, I could pay a fixed fee every month, and I know that there's somebody there who's able to come and help me in a appropriate and agreed amount of time. This is a term we call service level agreements, or SLAs, and I can get my things fixed. And ideally, it would be a little bit less expensive over the course of an entire year than paying for a number of issues as they come up sporadically and ad hoc. Now, this is all true, but there's a whole other aspect of these plan services that you may not be aware of that you should. It isn't just about having an agreement of guaranteed service and those sorts of things, and that's really important. But a good plan, a good managed support service, is more than just fixing things when they break. They are preventing the breaks from ever happening. They function like an internal IT department. They're monitoring what your machine is doing. They're proactively trying to address issues before they become bigger. And they're managing the technology the way that more and more the technology needs to be managed. Things like patching and cybersecurity, the overall health and wellness of the device. These are things that can and should be addressed persistently, not just once in a while. You'll notice that your machine starts to slow down and it starts to have issues, and you learn to just deal with it. But at what cost? Usually it's the cost of revenue and the frustration of your device not working well, and you're too afraid of what it will cost to get fixed to have it in and get serviced. And these persistent monthly paid plans hopefully are addressing that exact thing and trying to ensure that the device is working at its optimal level as much as it can throughout the course of the year. That way, the times where there are significant incidents, they're infrequent, and the impact and the time that it takes to get you back up and operational is really low. So it isn't really an apples to apples comparison between the two, at least not when you're considering a more mature service offering that is a lot more comprehensive. And then you can even start working with vendors like us that look at things even more strategically, where we function really as tight in like an internal IT department, looking at the strategic technology decisions that you're going to be working with. With the plans, create a whole opportunity for a vendor like ourselves to partner with you and look at things more strategically and long term. So we're not just looking at a given year and how do we keep the device running this year. We're going to look at this over the next several years and into the future. Are we going to be buying the right devices going forward? As your business grows and expands, do we have the right onboarding processes? This is especially true when it comes to regulatory and compliance requirements. These are things that have to be done persistently. Having a vendor like Anneal Tech to work with you on those things throughout the year and over the course of multiple years creates a level of stability and foundational strength that a lot of growing businesses really need. And it takes a lot of the headaches and concerns off of your plate. And so there's a lot more value that can be provided in these monthly plans than what can be done in an ad hoc relationship. And so, although it may seem like it is more costly to pay for a month to month plan, especially when you look at those things over the course of the year, consider what the overall impact of having that level of partnership and support consistently is going to be, and what the potential savings will be when those issues are prevented in the first place because of that proactive nature of the service. I hope this helps and gives you a little bit more perspective to think about, and it helps make it a little bit easier to set the right expectations for your vendors, whoever you're working with, and help them understand where you see your needs being. And hopefully, as they try and articulate the benefits of that persistent relationship, why that's in your favor, even though up front it may seem like more cost.